Why are you laughing?
I would like to welcome everybody to the 2024-25 Hall of Fame induction ceremony for Highland Park High School. My name is Paul Harris, and I serve as the athletic director at Highland Park High School, and my ties to this place run deep. My mom began teaching here when I was 8 years old, and I've loved walking into this building ever since. I graduated from Highland Park High School in 1988 and began working here in the fall of 1992, coaching basketball, coaching golf, teaching special education. In my journey from a young fan to an athlete to an educator, I've been influenced by so many people in this community, particularly through athletics. And there's such a sense of pride in this room. You can feel it. It's special, and we don't take special for granted. Many of you have traveled from far to be here, and we know there are people tuning in all over the country, thanks to the power of the live stream. Big hand for Evan Gerke and HPTV. Before we meet our Hall of Famers, I want to take a few minutes to introduce some people who worked extremely hard to make tonight possible. First, our administration. Principal Holly Fleischer, who's here today, big hand. Along with assistant principals Josh Selvis, Lauren Stillwell, Matt Wallace, and our student activities director, Dr. Joaquin Stevenson. As an athletic department, we feel fortunate to work with this dedicated group of professionals who truly understand the importance of extracurricular activities. Next is our Hall of Fame committee. Many of these individuals are here tonight. Could our Hall of Fame committee please stand if you are here to be recognized? Please stand up. I'm proud to serve with these loyal individuals who are committed to doing things the right way in hopes of advancing and enhancing Highland Park athletics. Along with Evan, Joey Filer, Amelia Talar, and our HPTV student workers do so much for HP athletics beyond just today's live stream. They help promote athletics throughout the school, and they do it with tremendous passion. And our athletic department staff, who are some of the most unselfish people that I've ever worked with. Our athletic administrative assistant, Sylvia Diego, who's here, not just setting up all the food, making the beautiful frame pictures in front of you, handing out wristbands so everyone can get into the game today. She does it all. She consistently goes above and beyond to help our students, our athletes, and our coaches. She's a person for others, and her loyalty to this institution is remarkable. Big hand for Sylvia. And Colleen Boilini is our assistant athletic director. She is a tireless worker with a team-first attitude. She's a Highland Park graduate, a member of the Hall of Fame. She serves on the Hall of Fame committee. She's our head girls flag football coach and is responsible for helping administer all 32 sports programs at Highland Park High School. Thank you, Colleen, for all you do. The Athletic Hall of Fame was established in 2003, and the goal of the founders of the Hall of Fame was to honor the past and inspire the present and future athletes in Highland Park, Highwood, and Fort Sheridan. The Hall of Fame has also been a source of pride for those with connections to our Hall of Famers. Many of you are here today in support of our inductees. We talk to our student athletes all the time about being someone who can take joy in the success of others. And so thank you who are here tonight doing exactly that. You're here because you are taking joy in the success of others. And that's what Highland Park Athletics is all about. For those that have come here tonight in support of Danny, Coach Nachman, Mr. Gorleski, Peter, and the 2011 girls golf team, thank you for attending and showing what it means to be a great teammate. And on behalf of Highland Park High School, I want to thank everyone who's taking time to be here tonight. We're going to learn some HP athletic history tonight, and it's been a privilege to organize these festivities. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first presenter, a 1981 graduate of Highland Park High School and former football and basketball coach at Highland Park High School, Mr. Jordan Shiner.
Thank you, Paul. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start by congratulating John, Cathy, Peter, and the 2011 women's golf team on all of their well-deserved Hall of Fame inductions. It's my honor and pleasure to stand here this afternoon to celebrate a player, Danny Barnett, who truly embodies everything that is great about Highland Park athletics, and specifically the history and tradition of what the Highland Park football program has stood for. 36 years ago and more, I had the privilege of coaching a young man who wasn't just an extraordinary quarterback, but also an exceptional leader, athlete, competitor, and teammate, a total winner. He exuded a confidence that was contagious to those around him, and because of those traits, we are here to honor him today. Danny led the 1989 Giants to arguably the greatest season in our school's 100-year-plus history. Danny's story really begins his junior year, where he was a second-string quarterback behind a senior who was all-conference. That player got injured around the 5th game of the season. Danny came in and played so well that we couldn't replace him. The all-conference quarterback actually became our fullback. What set Danny apart wasn't just his talent, though he had plenty of that. He was confident, yet humble. He was competitive and tough, yet selfless. And most glaring, he focused on the success of the team over his own achievements. Coach Gerdes, who I had the privilege to play for and coach under, and who flew in from Florida to be with us today, shared a story with me about Danny's selflessness. Coach had called a QB sneak from the 1-yard line for Danny to take in. The tush push had not yet been invented. Instead of Danny taking the play for himself, he ran over the sideline and asked Coach if he could call a dive play for our fullback to allow his teammate to get his first varsity football TD. The play was changed and his teammate got to experience the glory of scoring. I recently read a quote from Marv Levy, the Hall of Fame football coach who also happened to be from Chicago, which reminded me of what kind of a player and leader Danny was. Coach Levy once said, "What you do should speak so loudly no one needs to hear what you're saying." This summed up Danny. He had the ability to lead not with words, but with actions. And what actions they were. Let me take you back to maybe the finest and most memorable season in Highland Park football history, the 1989 season. That year we went 9-2, a record that stood as a testament to the grit, the determination and talent of that entire team. But oh boy, it sure didn't hurt having Danny under quarterback. He led Highland Park to our first conference championship since 1964, when we were in the old Suburban League, an accomplishment that ended a decades-long drought. Our first 9-win season, we hadn't won 8 games since 1922. And if that wasn't enough, we achieved something else historic, the first playoff victory in school history, a 42-20 demolition of Stevenson in the opening round. But for many of us, the defining moment of that 1980 season was another first. And anyone who was in attendance all those years ago has never forgotten. There was this certain team, just to our west over there, that still gets the competitive juices going for, I think, most of us. For those of you that don't know, Deerfield was a powerhouse in Illinois high school football in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. They'd been in multiple state championships. They won it all in 1975. They had multiple guys get Division I scholarships each year, and he even had guys playing on Sunday, the NFL. Well, it's late October 1989. Both teams came to the last game of the regular season undefeated in conference play. Deerfield was ranked number 7 in the state and had not lost a game. We were unranked, but we were 7-1. So here we were, a chance to be a conference champion, but also beat Deerfield. We had never beaten Deerfield ever. Danny might not know this, but the Deerfield football staff was so worried about his throwing and scrambling ability on that day that they game planned specifically to try and stop him. They designated a spy to not allow him to scramble and run. Well, it didn't matter. Danny rose to the moment, throwing a 55-yard touchdown right before half to put us up 7-0 at the break. I read a quote from the Tribune where Danny said, "That touchdown was a huge lift. We realized that Deerfield could be beaten." I believe Danny knew that all along. He threw another touchdown in the third to put us up 14-0. They scored on a deflected pass, fluke play in the fourth quarter, and were marching late when our defense came up with a big fourth down stop to secure the 14-6 win. For the first time ever, Highland Park defeated Deerfield High School, a program that had been a thorn in our side for years. That victory wasn't just a win, it was a statement and a symbol of the incredible journey this team that had been 2-7 the year before under Danny's leadership and play had taken. Then, of course, there was that game, Highland Park versus Glenbrook North, where Danny went 13 for 14 passing for 284 yards, threw for 5 touchdowns, and accounted for an unbelievable 522 total yards of offense. That wasn't just a great performance. It was one for the ages, as it still stands as one of the greatest individual efforts in Highland Park history. Danny was also a punter, averaging 38 yards a punt, the second best average in school history. He made 31 of 31 extra points, still ranked #1. But the story didn't end there. Over the course of his career, he threw for 25 touchdowns, 19 his senior year. And understand, this was during a time where we might throw at most 15 passes a game. There was no such thing as spread offenses then. We can only imagine what his stats would have been in today's game. Part of Danny's magic as a QB was his scrambling, his knack to make a play when nothing was there. I'm not sure if anybody's ever thought this, but I'm convinced it came from his travel hockey days, his cutting and the background, and this made him a nightmare for defenses. When the pocket collapsed, he didn't panic. He improvised, often turning broken plays into unforgettable moments of brilliance. His talent carried him beyond high school, where he continued to make waves in college. While having a number of offers to play at the next level, Danny chose to play at Illinois State, where he started 6th on the depth chart, eventually working his way up to the starter. And perhaps his crowning achievement at that level came when he helped defeat Youngstown State, the #1 ranked team in the nation at the time at 1AA level. They were coached by none other than Jim Tressel, for you sports fans, who would later lead Ohio State to a national championship. In the defining moments of that game, down 3 with less than 3 minutes left, he threw a perfect strike for a 71-yard touchdown. A play that remains the most iconic and is ranked #1 in the ISU Hancock Stadium history. You can actually see it on YouTube. Danny obviously earned numerous prestigious individual honors, including Most Valuable Player, All-Conference, Giant Coaches Award, and All-Lake County, further solidifying his legacy as one of the greatest to ever play for Highland Park. I know there are a lot of basketball folks here today, and for good measure, Danny was also the starting point guard on the varsity basketball team that went 20-6 and won a conference as well. Rumor had it that the varsity baseball coach was trying to talk Danny to go after baseball. But for all the stats, the championships, and the highlights, what I remember most is the kind of teammate and leader Danny was. He played for the name on the front of the jersey, truly not the back, and that selflessness was a big part of what made him so special. As Coach Gerdes told me, Danny was the most unselfish player I coached in my entire 30-plus year career. A tremendous testament to the type of person Danny is. I know this attitude is carried over into his life and successful business career. 36 years later, we still tell stories about that special season, about the quarterback who led us to historic milestones and inspired everyone around him to believe that anything was possible. And this afternoon, it is my absolute privilege to see him take his rightful place in the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring a great quarterback, a great leader, and one of the finest young men I've ever had the privilege to coach, Danny Barnett.
Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you everyone for coming. I appreciate it. Driving the 6 or 7 minutes to get here. Football is a team sport, and you really can't be successful without being surrounded by great coaches, family, friends, and great people to support you to be successful. And my goal tonight is to announce a few of you guys, some of the one-liners and some of the mentorship and the strength and somebody's phone. And thank everybody for their input and mentorship into my life. Coach Shiner has known me, was a camp counselor of mine, actually almost killed me in a sailboat accident, but we won't mention that. Jordan coached me in Little Giants. He coached me freshman B, I think it was, freshman B, and also in varsity. And I owe so much of this to you. You gave me the intangibles. You taught me the game, but you gave me the mindset. You gave me the confidence. You had taught me, you taught me swag before swag was even a word, brother. And you gave me the confidence. You taught me how to walk up to the line and call the shots and how to be a leader of young men. And I owe so much, and it's carried on through college and through my business life and my career and everything. And I owe so much to you. So thank you very much. Coach Gerdes, my man. I have so much respect and love for you. I appreciate everything you did for me. You were like a calm, cool force for me. You coached me hard. You never disrespected me when I was wrong. You pulled me in your office and you corrected me, not in front of everybody. But you were such a good coach, such a good man. I don't really know if you were a good science teacher because I think you failed me. But everything else was great. Strong right 36, bootleg left. That's some Andy Reid shit. That was a great play. I appreciate you, and you taught me so much. Quick Coach Gerdes story. I did go 13 of like 14 that game. I think it was more like 300 yards, but whatever, 5 touchdowns. And I was in the locker room thinking like I was the coolest guy in the county. And Coach sat next to me, Coach Gerdes, and put his arm around me and said, "Son, you never played as good as you think you do, and you never play as bad as you think you did." And that one line stuck with me for my whole life. It helped me get through the rest of the games. It helped me get through college football. It helped me get through business. A few marriages here and there, but you know, it helped me get through a lot of stuff. And you were always so great to me, and I love you, man, and this award is your award too. So thank you very much. I want to thank my daughters for coming in. I know that for the next 4 hours they won't be shopping. My Uncle Bruce has always been a mentor to me, and I've always looked up to him. And at a very young age, almost too young, he told me, you know, every now and then you got to get in the ring, son. And smartest guy I know, but also toughest guy I know. So I thank you for always, also the cheapest one-on-one player in the history of the world. I think I was like 6 when you were beating me up, but I appreciate you and thank you very much. I thank my parents. I did the math. I've had a few concussions, so the math isn't always so great, but I think I started like 27, 28 games in college and probably 25, 30 games, you know, before that. They didn't miss a game. They were always there. And I appreciate them for showing up. It means a lot to a 17, 18-year-old kid looking up in the stands and seeing your parents there. And it took a lot out of your daily life. So thank you, Mom and Dad. Mom, I always practiced our Heisman speech. I'm sorry, but this is it. So thank you for your support. Also, I would like to thank another inductee, Peter Rudman, my brother-in-law. I've known forever, since he was, kind of sneaking out of my sister's bedroom. But he set the bar for me at a young age that, you don't only start in high school, you play in high school, and you gotta be all conference, and then you gotta play in college, and then you play in college, and then you gotta play in a league. And he set the bar for me so high that, like, it was impossible not to succeed. And first of all, congratulations, and thank you for doing that. Shout out to my boys, Wheels, DJ, Goody, the Kid, all my guys for always supporting me, having my back, being my biggest fans. Ricky Michaelon is my best friend since I've been 4 years old. We met down the street at Centennial Ice Rink, played hockey, actually won the Silver Stick together, played basketball, football, everything. And quick Ricky story, junior year, by the way, he could debatably have the best jump shot in the room, just saying. That was to you. Junior year, Ricky averaged like 20-something points a game, couldn't hit a shot to save his life in the game. It was like third quarter, Colsey calls a huddle, he's screaming at us. And we come out of the huddle and I'd say, Rick, maybe you stop shooting. And he looked at me, he goes, shooters shoot. My brother, shooters shoot. That little thing and that little confidence, when I was a junior, we were juniors, he's 16, 17 years old, kept me going forever. There were so many games I could have checked out of a play, could have killed a play and not passed or gone to a check down or done whatever. But I always thought, shooters shoot. And you've had my back my entire life. And I appreciate you so much, and thank you and love you. Thank you guys so much. It's a great honor, and I appreciate it so much. God bless.
Thank you to Danny and Jordan. Next up are Scott Scornavaco, who's a 1986 graduate of Highland Park High School. His father, John, is in attendance tonight. He's a Highland Park Hall of Famer and served on the Hall of Fame committee. And Scott is joined by Highland Park High School former athletic director Paul Prima, and they will be presenting John Gorleski.
Congratulations to all the great athletes that are being inducted today, with a special congratulations to my dear friend of more than 50 years, Peter Rudman. Thankfully, the Highland Park High School Athletic Hall of Fame is not based on athletic ability alone, which gives me the great opportunity to present John Gorleski today. This Hall of Fame, however, it does value impact, and John is a true legend in Highland Park sports history, with the impact he has made on the programs, the coaches, the athletes, the student body, and the community. I met John in 1981, about 2 weeks after he was hired by my dad, who was the athletic director at the time. Paul already called him out. I wanted to do the same. He was part of the inaugural class of this Hall of Fame, and a Hall of Fame dad. I can remember my dad telling my mom they just hired some hotshot athletic trainer from Michigan who thought he had a Magnum PI mustache, when in fact he had a Larry Bird mustache. Coincidentally, he thought he had Larry Bird's hoop game, but he had Magnum PI's. Anyway, I was 13 and my dad took me to see John about a hip that killed. And my dad really probably just wanted to see what kind of knowledge his new trainer had. We got all of it in 20 seconds. I said, it hurts when I do this. He said, don't do that. After growing up in Carroll, Michigan, right there, and graduating from Central Michigan, is that? Yeah, there you go. John had a master plan that was ruined by fate. His plan was to have his much smarter and more capable wife, Mary, teach full-time while he roamed around the area, filling in for programs that needed a temporary trainer. Little did he know that Highland Park's team doctor, Dr. Robert Rosenzweig, also a Hall of Famer, was friendly with the director of the Central Michigan Training Program. He called up to Michigan to see if he had a good candidate for the opening, and John happened to be sitting right next to him. He was handed a phone number for my dad, and the next day, John and Mary got out the map and made their way to Highland Park. Here, John caught another big break. The interview started, and John mentioned that Mary was waiting on the hall in the athletic department. There was no air conditioning in the hall, so my dad invited Mary in for the interview. She must have taken over because John got the job. My dad was part of hiring many impactful people over the years. I would argue John is top of that list. As an athletic trainer, John created an atmosphere that made the training room the epicenter of HP athletics. On any given day in John's training room, there was many athletes socializing as it were seeking treatment. It was fun, loose, and safe, kind of like a Coach Colsey practice. It became clear to everyone that could come, it became clear to everyone that would come by that John, it wasn't just physical problems, John was there to help you, and when you left there, you felt better. In '87, John made a career move and became athletic director. John had a special ability to connect with people and develop relationships and trust with others. He is a natural leader. His personality and leadership style were a great fit for mentoring coaches and supporting the athletes at the same time. After 7 years as athletic director, John decided to step away to spend more time with the people that mattered to him most, Mary and his children, Terry and Eric. This decision led him back to the classroom where John was truly a great teacher, and onto the baseball field, joining Coach Knotek's coaching staff where he coached baseball for the next 20 years. There are many other things, big and small, that John has done for Highland Park High School, some of them outside the realm of athletics. But speak of what an impact John has had. I'd like to mention just a few. The first one is the Thanksgiving Turkey Day shootout. During Thanksgiving break of 1986, my friends and former teammates were hoping to get a hoop game together on Thanksgiving morning. We called John and asked him if he would come play with us. It wasn't because he had the keys. It was really, who couldn't use a guy who based his game on cheap shots, stepping on your feet, and stacking the teams in his favor? John built that morning into a tradition that's alive and well to this day, bringing in former HPHS basketball players and coaches of all ages every year. The last thing I want to talk about has nothing to do with sports, but everything to do with John. He leaves an incredible legacy through his creation of the HPHS Charity Drive. His efforts building Charity Drive drew on all his great attributes: dedication to kids and others, creativity, tireless work ethic, enthusiasm, and relationship building. The result of those things impacted so many people, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars each year for an incredible cause. And for 1 month out of the school year, it pulled the school and community together in a way that achieved national recognition. It became a major point of pride for the school and the city of Highland Park. One additional note, this isn't the only Hall of Fame John is a member of. In 2012, he was inducted into the Illinois Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame as a friend of basketball for his work as a trainer, athletic director, and as a scorekeeper at home games for more than 29 years. I'm incredibly proud to be presenting John to the Hall of Fame. You've been a great friend to HPHS and to me personally. Thank you and congratulations.
Jordan, I didn't know you were going to have this in your remarks. Your actions speak so loudly, I cannot hear your words. This quote was placed above the phone at John's desk when he was athletic director. I kept it there for the 5 years that I tried to fill his shoes. The athletic director is a challenging job. Right, Paul? Right, John? Jim, wherever you are. There's a lot of us in here, somehow we survived it, but it's a tough job. John was an exceptional AD. In 1994, when I met John, I guessed he was about 55. He was 36. Exhausted, looking forward to his next chapter at HP. He loves this place and gave it his all. I was lucky to follow his lead. Over the next weeks, he described the enormity of this athletic director's job. I peppered him day and night with hundreds of questions. He was so patient. Those conversations found their way to Santy's in Highwood, and over sausage sandwiches and a few cold pops. John would mentor me like he did for hundreds of his colleagues over the years. I recall him prepping me, Paul, the fall season is a bear. Mary, the kids and I, we would go travel to Cairo, Michigan for Thanksgiving. That'd be the first breather since August. The waitress at the roadside would ask me what dressing I wanted on my salad. I couldn't make a decision, he said. I was all decisioned out. After Thanksgiving, he spent Friday and Saturday on the couch, basically brain dead. But, John said, this job has made me a better person. And everybody knows John is a pretty darn good person. And those words have stayed with me for a long time. I'm a Catholic school educated person. I went to grade school, high school. My first career stops all influenced by the love and kindness of Jesus Christ. Jesus was our guy. The administration even told us our work here would earn a higher place in heaven. I never envisioned ever working in a public school. And then I met Highland Park. Talk about an epiphany. Every step along the way, John, Jane Gard, Ted Schaffner, Jay Gertis, many of you in this room, they demonstrated kindness. John is kind. He's clever, but he's kind. An open-mindedness. John will be stubborn on things, but he'll listen to both sides. A patient and loving truth. He'll hit you between the eyes with the truth. It stings a little bit sometimes, especially later in life, big guy. But I'm grateful. And a reliability. And the guy lives 100 yards from here and has for 40 years, 35, 40 years, 40. And anytime you need something, his door is open, married, open. I mean, he's never late. He's always there. He's reliable. He's just a solid guy. This magical educational oasis, Highland Park High School, one of the premier schools in America, you all revealed to me a fresh approach to learning. For 35 years, John has shared his soul with this place. He has shaped the DNA of this place, and his influence will continue for years to come. John's health classes were convivial. He had upbeat kids enjoying his humor and the wit that he brought every day. He'd weave it in with riddles and lessons that had open-ended questions. He was a natural teacher. He and Andy, over 20 years, built a proud baseball culture right there down at Walters Field. And again, that Rye, Caro, homespun, Michigan jocularity helped the Giants to unprecedented achievement. Paul Harris tabs John as a go-to guy. Makes a lot of sense. How many health teachers lead all school faculty meetings or are recruited to every committee that led to important curriculum advancement or referendum strategies or hiring key positions? He regularly was invited by district and school administration because he uniquely had the pulse of the school and he uniquely would tell the truth. John taught kids skills, as Scott alluded to help raise millions of dollars, critical dollars, through the charity drive. He led the Class Act initiative at our beautiful house on Vine. I can still see the signs. He made a difference again and again. Whether it was morning hoops, talent shows, chili cook-offs, parties he and Mary would host at their home, Highwood invitations, card nights, racetrack outings, post-game get-togethers, all to build and enhance community. Gorleski, the community builder. Inside joke, sorry, but a good one. So valuable that John's active insistence on reaching out built a tight-knit teaching corps. We all loved being part of HPHS. We were all tied to John in some way. The kids could feel it. They knew there was an unusual kind of bond with the faculty here. That energy and fire that John stoked to improve every interaction in this storied building, his actions spoke loudly. Mary, Terry, Eric, thanks for sharing John with us. I love John Gorleski. On behalf of the tens of thousands of students and colleagues of the Highland Park High School family that have benefited from your generosity, John, and more importantly, your artistry, thank you. Coach John Gorleski.
The only guy more nervous than me right now is Paul Harris. You see him with a stopwatch and a hook in his hand? Somebody tackle him, all right? If you know Paul, there's a time frame that we stick to. But if you remember Jim Valvano's speech, what he said to the people when they flashed the red light, that you were out of time.
Remember, you can just keep.
He had terminal cancer, unfortunately. For many years, I was part of a committee that was formed to help select the outstanding male and female senior graduates that year. I mean, talking about great kids that we had to choose from. And each year, each of us got to ask one question. And so I would always ask the same question. My question was, as you're approaching the end of your high school career, students tend to get kind of reflective. So I want you to think back over your 4 years and tell me something about an event, a moment, a memory that sticks out in your mind as a highlight of your high school career. And it was always fascinating to hear the stories or the highlights of these kids that they had experienced in their high school careers. It was fascinating to listen to that. As I reflect back on my 42-year career at Highland Park, I most certainly will remember today as a highlight of my career here. We're actually kind of tied at #1 tonight and any time that we beat Deerfield in any sport. If you know me, you know how true that is. A special thank you to Scott and Paul for your kind words. I got to know Scott very, very well during my years as athletic trainer. Scott was just one of the athletes, and I use the term athlete very loosely, okay, who spent a great deal of time in the training room. His list of injuries and hurts was extensive. Strangely enough, these injuries tended to show up just before conditioning began, and Scott just could not do it. But Scott does represent many of you in this room today. I had the opportunity to know you as high school kids and then the pleasure of watching you grow into adulthood. I'm truly touched by your friendship that we have built over the years. After leaving the athletic director position, Highland Park was lucky enough to have Paul Pima come and assume the AD's position. And for those of you who know Paul, what can I say about Paul he hasn't said about himself? Oh, right. Paul has become one of my closest friends. His impact on young people in his role as teacher, coach, athletic director, and principal at GBN has been immense. And I can't tell you how much your friendship and mentorship has meant to me. I guess fortunate and lucky is how I feel about many things today. I was lucky enough to start dating Mary, known by many of you as my current spouse, the summer after our freshman year in high school. She has been nothing but supportive in the many roles that I've had here at HP. Each of these roles have required long hours away from home and family, and I'm lucky to have two great kids who have their passions ignited here at Highland Park High School. Both Terry and Eric are happy and very successful in their chosen fields. Terry is an instructional coach in an elementary school district in Pflugerville, Texas. She's an outstanding educator and continues to make a positive impact on all of those who are lucky enough to come into contact with her. Eric is a very successful lighting designer in the Los Angeles area. He's worked with artists such as Jelly Roll, Blink-182, Kanye West, Travis Scott, and many others are an indication of his talent. Thank you, Tim Conway. I also want to recognize our granddaughter Maggie Hurtak, who made the trip with Terry. She is involved in a variety of sports, particularly softball. Maggie, we're very proud of you and love you very much. I've discovered that timing and luck are two very important factors in life. Scott stole some of my story, but I'm going to say it again. When I was graduate assistant in the sports medicine department at Central Michigan University, a call came in and said that John Gorleski, the athletic director of Highland Park, was looking for a new athletic trainer. Knowing nothing about HP, Mary and I jumped in the car and made the trip to HP. I think Scorno was pressed for time, but I got the job. Mary and I were immediately embraced by a group of coaches and community members that made our transition to the big city an easy one. Mentors such as John Scorno, Jim Swanson, Jane Gard, Jay Gerdes, and Joanne Heidel immediately began to play huge roles in my life and career. After 6 years as an athletic trainer, I was lucky enough to have Principal Ron Tesh take a chance on a young guy as the next AD at Highland Park High School. Watching our athletic programs grow and be successful in so many different ways was extremely rewarding. With a talented and caring group of coaches, we were able to provide the other half of educational experience that athletics is known for. This was an experience that I will never forget and helped to give me a broader perspective and make me a better person, as Paul mentioned. After 7 years as AD, I realized that something was missing, and that something was time with my own kids and kids in general. Luckily, the timing was right to move into my next role as health and anatomy teacher, baseball coach, and student senate sponsor. During this time, we were able to initiate Charity Drive, a month-long fundraising effort that has generated millions of dollars for worthy charities. This was also the time that I rediscovered my passion for the sport of baseball. Thanks to Andy Knotek, Eddie Pazinski, and Dan Casey for being by my side for 20 years. I never thought that I would say this, but I miss the early morning practices, the long bus rides, and the 40-degree doubleheaders with a strong wind off the lake. I've always felt that the key to building success in any walk of life lies in one's ability to build strong relationships with others. No matter what my job title was here at Highland Park High School, I've always made that a priority. As I look around the room and see the many familiar faces, I would like to think that I have accomplished my goal. Once again, thank you, and I'm very honored to be inducted into the Highland Park High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
Our next presenters are Jolie Bechtel, who's in her 20th year as our head girls basketball coach, coming off a conference championship, back-to-back conference championships this year. And our assistant athletic director and HP Hall of Famer, Colleen Boylini, and they will be presenting Coach Cathy Nachman.
Congratulations to all of the inductees, and specifically to Coach Gorleski, who continues to be a valued teammate to HP Athletics and a dear friend. It is a great honor to stand before you this afternoon to recognize someone who is a pioneer of female athletics at Highland Park High School, a mentor and a dear friend. Cathy Nachman was a dedicated athlete during her time as a Giant from 1969 to 1973, at a time when opportunities for female athletes were just beginning. Since that time, in the early 70s, her loyalty has continued as a coach, mentor, and a valued teammate to HPHS athletics. Cathy's athletic history at HPHS was valuable in building female athletic programs of the future. During her 4 years, she was a member of the swim team, field hockey, basketball, tennis, and softball teams. She captained the softball team in her junior and senior year, but maybe more impressive is that she pitched every inning of every softball game in her 4 years. As a 5-sport athlete, Cathy was balancing a busy schedule that at times had her playing multiple sports in one season, where she was playing #1 doubles in tennis and also goalie for the field hockey team. Cathy was deeply involved in the GAA, the Highland Park High School Girls Athletic Association, where she served as a 3-year board member, held key roles as softball representative, treasurer, and social chair. She even served as the first girls sports editor of the Shoreline, shaping the coverage of recognition of women's athletics at a time when it was still a challenge to find space for women in the sports world. Her recognition didn't end with athletics. Cathy was honored with the Highland Park Chamber of Commerce Award and earned the prestigious title of Illinois State Scholar, achievements that speak to her commitment both in the classroom and on the field. Cathy went on to attend the University of Michigan, where she continued her athletic career, making history as part of Michigan's first ever field hockey and basketball teams. As a center forward in field hockey, she earned a varsity letter and was part of Team 1 on Michigan's inaugural women's basketball team. She left a lasting legacy that is still honored to this day. In 2013, Cathy was recognized for her role as a pioneer in women's sports by the University of Michigan, a well-deserved acknowledgement of her trailblazing work. Even after her time at Michigan, Cathy has continued to stay connected to her roots, remaining a dedicated supporter of women's sports, especially the girls' basketball program at HPHS. She is a pillar of support, consistently demonstrating leadership, enthusiasm, and unwavering commitment to the success and empowerment of the young women who follow in her footsteps. Thank you, Nachman, for providing opportunities for me and my athletes and all of our giant family.
For decades, Cathy has been a mentor, a leader, and a driving force in shaping young athletes both on and off the field. Her dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment to sports and student athletes have left a giant mark on our school and community. Cathy began coaching in 1978 as the freshman girls volleyball coach. Over the years, she added softball, girls lacrosse, and girls golf to her resume. Perhaps her greatest legacy was built in the sport of golf. From 2005 to 2020, Cathy served as the varsity girls golf coach, leading her teams to some incredible success. In 2010, her team finished 7th place in the IHSA state tournament. In 2011, Highland Park claimed the CSL Conference Championship, Regional Championship, Sectional Championship, and an impressive 3rd place finish in the IHSA state tournament. That same year, Cathy was recognized as the Pioneer Press Coach of the Year. Coach Nachman also helped individual golfers achieve greatness, guiding Kelly Ono to the state tournament in 2012 and coaching Beth Weinstein to a top 10 state finish in 2004 and 2005. Beyond her coaching, Cathy has been an integral part of the Highland Park Athletics Department for years, serving as an official scorer, clock operator, and announcer for countless events, and even recording many years of game film for the Highland Park girls basketball team. Her love of sports and her heart of service kept Cathy involved outside of HPHS too. She officiated high school volleyball in Michigan and in Illinois in the late 1970s, as well as field hockey, basketball, swimming, and softball. She became a lifelong competitor, participating in a women's softball league from 1976 all the way to 2014, and making her mark in the Sunset Valley Women's Golf League, where she was an 8-time club champion and served as the league president. Cathy's influence cannot be measured simply by wins and championships. She has shaped generations of athletes, and her legacy will continue to inspire those of us who come after her. Congratulations on an extraordinary coaching career, Cathy. Nachman, today we honor you not just for your athletic achievements, but for the way you have inspired generations of athletes, leaders, students, and coaches to believe in themselves and to always strive for greatness. Your passion, your leadership, and your love for Highland Park will continue to shape this community for years to come. Thank you, Cathy, for all you've done and continue to do for this community and for the incredible legacy you have built in the world of women's sports. On behalf of all the athletes, coaches, families, and fans who have had the privilege of knowing you, we thank you for your commitment, your kindness, and your tireless work. We are so grateful for your lifelong dedication and are proud to not only have you as a giant, but a true friend. Congratulations, Cathy.
Thank you, Jolie and Colleen. I treasure your friendships and I treasure the work that you do. I value what you do so very highly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations to Danny, Peter, and the 2011 girls golf team for your very deserving honors. And to John Gorleski, I think I'll refer to you just as Bud, because that's what you call every guy or every gal that comes up to the table to check in. Bud, over here, Bud. We've spent hundreds of hours together working basketball, but let me be very clear. I will never make your announcement in front of the people in the giant gym. He always wants me to say, please, don't forget to get your pets spayed and neutered. I will never say that. So many things have crossed my mind thinking about my remarks, and since I could speak for days, I will just say a few things. To my parents, Adolph, Roz, who are watching up there and probably more proud than any parents would ever be. And to my brother Jim, who's also unfortunately up there watching down here, thank you for all that you did. And to my brother Bob, who is here, I was the baby of the family. I will always be the baby of the family. There's 2 of us left now, but I'm always going to be the baby. My brother Jim was about 7 years older than me, and Bob is 4.5 years older than me. And I benefited greatly from the guidance of my older brothers. And that's where I got my love of sports. From my parents. My mother was a golfer. She started playing golf in her teens. My father was an avid, rabid White Sox fan, and that's where it all started. From a very young age, my prized possessions were not my Barbie doll or my Chatty Cathy doll. No, they were my baseball uniform and my baseball glove. I applied to be Batgirl with the White Sox in 1971. And this is the letter that I received from the White Sox in March of 1971. I am sorry that we have no place for Batgirls, but if we do find something for you to do, we will be in touch with you. No, not in touch. Title IX was signed into law in June of 1972, which was right after my junior year at Highland Park High School, and that began an incredible change in the fortunes of female athletics. During our first field hockey season at the University of Michigan, let me be clear, I pitched every inning of every softball game at Highland Park High School, and that amounted to about 13 games total, 7 of them being in my senior year. So don't get too impressed by that. During our first field hockey season, the Board of Regents at the University of Michigan decided to make 6 girls' sports, 6 women's sports, intercollegiate. Softball was really my sport, but there was no softball at Michigan until 2 years after I graduated. Let it be known that I played in Michigan Stadium in front of 104,000 empty seats with no locker rooms, no trainers, no bathrooms, nothing. And so when I went to my afternoon classes in my field hockey attire with my field hockey stick and my books, I was a PE major, and one of my professors who was teaching PE, a guy, always referred to me as Miss Hockey Puck. Traipsing around Michigan campus in my field hockey attire, there were no leggings. People didn't wear leggings. They didn't exist. People didn't wear clothing like they wear today. So I looked really out of place. I earned a varsity letter my freshman year, which I received right before the start of my senior year, and we got what I affectionately call the Baby M. It wasn't maize, it's kind of orangey, and it was small. And why did we get this and not what the guys got? Because men, like Bo Schembechler and other major people at the University of Michigan, did not want women to denigrate what the men had. Well, guess what? 40 years after I got Baby M, the University of Michigan sent 900 women varsity letter jackets that looked just like the men. But it took 40 years. Also that year in 1976, President Jerry Ford was in Ann Arbor to kick off the campaign for his push to be president again. He was running against Jimmy Carter. And his motorcade, the Secret Service came, checked out all our cars, where we were in the parking lot, outside our practice. We practiced right next to the football team. And the motorcade, the presidential motorcade, drove right by us. That evening, I had been invited as a special guest to a private reception for Gerald Ford. And the only thing I could think of to say to President Gerald Ford and his wife Betty was, "Gee, President Ford, my field hockey teammates and I were very upset that you didn't come to address our team." Well, I'm happy to say, ladies and gentlemen, that today women are included in the president's celebrations of major sports, college sports teams. Women go get special awards from the president. And all of us are trying really hard to make a difference. And so I just like to say it's come a long way, and do I have regrets that I grew up in the time that I grew up in? Not really. I was number one in a lot of things. Not very good, maybe, but I was number one. And so when I coach, I like to tell people, commit to what you're doing, work to gain confidence in yourself, learn how to advocate for yourself, be a team player, embrace competition, do whatever you do with passion and spirit, take pride in what you do, and have fun and do it for the love of the game. Very quickly, so many people to thank. You can't do this alone. Thanks to my brother Bob. He led the way. He was a track man here, cross country and track at Highland Park High School. Special thanks to my teachers, Pip Gledhill, Kathy Rogers, and Bonnie Voss, who I've had the pleasure of speaking with several times over the last month. To Paul Harris, Lydia Gonzalez, Sylvia Diego, Tom Kulentis, Pat Sasson, Abby Maney, Nate Sweeney, Bobby Monroe, Andy Butler, Maggie Reese, and on and on and on, all the coaches that I've had the privilege of working with. And to my dear friends and extended family who are here to help me celebrate today, thank you very much. To all the players I have had the pleasure of coaching and their parents over the many years, thanks for being part of my life and bringing me great joy. Thank you very much.
We'll hear more from Cathy in a little bit, and as we get to know the 2011 girls golf team. But before that, Adam Rudman is here as the presenter for his twin brother Peter. Come on up. Adam graduated in 1986. All four of his children attended Highland Park High School. Adam and Peter's grandfather, Fred Fell, was a part of the first Hall of Fame class in 2003 with John Scornavaco. And the Rudman family is so interconnected with the Highland Park community. It's really a special relationship. So Adam, take it away, and thanks for being here.
Paul, you stole something I was going to say, but everybody, hello. I'm honored to induct Peter into the Highland Park High School Sports Hall of Fame. And what's awesome is that he'll be joining our grandpa. Fred Fell, our grandpa, was a 1932 grad, was inducted for his national record in the 2-mile relay back in 1931. I would also like to congratulate John, Danny, Cathy, and the 2011 girls golf team. So, Peter and I go way back. I am in the unique position to have played more basketball with him than anyone. In our backyard, at the Highwood Highland Park Rex, Elm Place School, Cloverdale, Highland Park High School, Multiplex, and we can't forget Honeyman's Driveway. But we started playing hoops like most kids the right way with Mr. Baker. And even as a 6-year-old, you could see that basketball just clicked with Peter. He liked to shoot and shoot and shoot, and he would score and score and score. We were always on the same team, and playing with him, even at that early age, it was just so apparent that I would never get to shoot a basketball in a game for my whole life. No, really, Peter was good, even way back then. Growing up, we went with the seasons, and we would play baseball and basketball and football accordingly, but the seasons didn't matter with basketball. Peter would be outside, dedicated to becoming a better player, shooting hoops in the wind, in the rain, in the snow, and when he ran out of shooting space on our court, he shot from everywhere. Our yard, over our garage, the Gray's driveway. His unbelievable range developed, and he was extremely annoying to play horse against. In high school, Peter played varsity freshman and sophomore year, contributing and learning. And then came junior year, which looked extremely promising with a talented team. But an early injury put a halt to most of Peter's season, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So we'll skip to senior year, which was very special. Best friends were the starting 5, and we were ready to take on anyone and fight to keep the giant basketball dominance going. And Peter was coming back from an injury, and he had a lot to prove, and prove it he did. Let's talk scoring. Can you believe that together, Peter and I averaged 31 points a game? We were the highest scoring twins in Illinois. All right, so Peter averaged 25 of those points. But not only did he lead us in scoring, it was his overall play, his teamwork, his leadership, his energy, his confidence, which we fed off of. On the court, Peter was influenced by his heroes of the day. No, not Jordan or Magic. I'm talking about Ric Flair, Snuka, and Roddy Piper. After he made shots or good plays, a Flair, woo, would ring out, and the Snuka hand gesture would fly. Roddy Piper, like jabbering with the other team, led to some WWF moments on the court, and it was a lot of fun. So back to some stats. And Peter did not want me to go here because, as you all know, he can be very modest. But senior year, Peter averaged 25 points a game to lead Lake County in scoring, and this was before the three-point line. He had highs of 46 versus Westinghouse, and he has 7 of the top scoring games in HP history. His career varsity average is 15.6 points per game, highest in HP history. He was a member of 4 straight CSL division titles, all conference, honorable mention all state, and a member of the Chicago Sun-Times all-area team. So our friends to this day love to give Peter grief about his hoops game. Yes, he always kept a running total of his points during the game. And yes, he had been known as Peter Rudman, without the D, because of his lack of defensive prowess. But there were a few overlooked attributes that were apparent on the court that helped his game, but even more so off the court in the game of life. His resilience and ability to deal with adversity. He was mindful before it was even a thing. Our friends know this as his dealer mentality. Back to junior year. One morning, Peter's left calf muscle swelled up and was hard as a rock. Right away, he found John Gorleski, who immediately got him to the hospital. The doctor's diagnosis, compartment syndrome. Surgery that afternoon to relieve the pressure before permanent nerve and muscle damage. Follow-up surgery a few days later to close the compartment with skin grafts. Surgeries were a success, but Peter would need time to heal and his season was over. And this is where Peter's mindset took over. There was no feeling sorry for himself, no pity party, no poor me. These are the cards he was dealt. His attitude, tell me what I have to do to get better because I'm going to play this season. Absolutely no time to look backward. So with a calf that looked like a shark had been gnawing on it, he went through months of grueling rehab with John, always looking forward, always being positive. And yes, Peter beat the doctor's timeline, returning for the final 2 games of the season. First game back, scored 16 against Waukegan East to seal conference championship. Then we made a run in the playoffs, ending with a heartbreaking 2-point loss in the sectional final to Carmel, with Peter scoring 21. Unfortunately, another health problem cut another hoop season short, this one more serious. Junior year at Lehigh University, a few games into the season, he was diagnosed with cancer. More tests showed cancer had spread, but again, his dealer mentality took over. These are the cards I've been dealt. What do I have to do to get better? So he had an 11-hour surgery to remove the spread and countless chemo sessions, never complained. Again, no poor me. He just kept looking forward, being positive. And HP basketball was there for him. Coach Cozy encouraged him to practice with the team whenever he felt like it, which he did every day. Peter eventually went into remission and then deemed cancer-free. So to wrap this up, I may be a little fraternally twin biased here, but I believe Peter is the most prolific scorer the school has seen, also has the best jump shot. Sorry, Ricky. He also has an outlook on life second to none, and he is an amazing father, husband, son, and brother. Congrats on being not into the HP Sports Hall of Fame, an honor most deserved. Peter.
Took so much of what I was going to say. So, this is a great honor. I'm so humbled. Adam, as he said, he and I have clearly spent a tremendous amount of time together. Teammates 24/7, especially on the hoop court. So I share this honor with you. And without you, there is no me. And thank you for the intro. And I saw that you got some of the stats in there, because you all know I'm not a stats guy. Okay? I don't care about stats. I never knew how many points I came out scoring. I was just happy to be out there playing. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, the athletic department, Paul Harris, who's been a friend since we were kids. Also, thanks to everybody that came out tonight. There's so many special people that are here, and also those of you that came from out of town. There's a big crew that came up from Florida and some other places. I'm truly overwhelmed. My kids are all here as well. Julia, Meredith, Tatum, Billy, you guys are my giants. I share this honor with a lot of people. I share this honor with my family. My father, Jerry Rudman, raised the 4 of us with help from Ruby Platt during a real tough time in our family, but our house always overflowed with a lot of love, a lot of laughter, and obviously a lot of sports. I know that my brothers, Steve and David, who are both here, as well as all the Fells and all the Rudmans, drew great pride in watching me succeed on the basketball court. And I was lucky. I had a huge family. So my grandparents and my aunts and my cousins, they were at every single game, and they were sitting in the Fred Fell section, which was the back corner of the old exhibition gym. When I was a kid, I dreamed of playing basketball at Highland Park High School. I heard so many stories from my grandfather about the great players that were at Highland Park in the past. Squeaky Melchiori, the Lynn brothers, Ricky Piacenza, Steve Bornstein. And I always wanted to be remembered as one of those guys, and maybe today I am. When we played for the Giants, it was the heyday of Highland Park basketball. As what was mentioned, HP won regionals, HP won sectionals, 4 conference titles in a row. When I was on varsity, we were consistently ranked in the top 20, played one of the most difficult schedules in the state of Illinois. Even our summer league games were brutal, and we would go head-to-head with some of the best teams. Going into our senior year, we beat St. Joe's, who was #1 in the state, in the summer, and we were wearing our HP practice jerseys and jam shorts, which set a new fashion trend in Detroit in the summer league. We might not have looked like players when we got on the court, but we could play. It was 80 zinger from tip to buzzer, and yes, I participated on the defensive end. I know for some reason they said I didn't play defense, but I did. We took on everyone and we feared no one. And most importantly, we never ever lost to Deerfield. My greatest memories at Highland Park are of the time that we spent together as a team. There was no AAU back then. It was just HP hoops. Nothing else mattered. I don't even think our parents knew what was going on because we were always together as a team. We had illegal scrimmages on Sundays in Chicago. Coach Wainwright told me when I was a sophomore, don't tell your dad where you're going. I was 15, I didn't have a driver's license. He just said, take a cab to Angel Guardian Gym at 9 o'clock on Sunday. We had Friday night summer leagues at Triton. The games would start close to midnight, and Triton was not a great area. We had 4-hour practices that was the sauna, that was the intramural gym. It was completely insane, and we loved every minute of it because we were together as a team and our parents hadn't a clue. I share this honor with my teammates as well. I played with the who's who of the legendary Giants. We had 5 straight years of Division I players, and some that were most impactful to me are no longer with us. Belcher Dawson, who was the best player I ever played with. Josh Wexler, who was the best teammate I ever had, and David Fleischer, our guy Fetch, was the best guy I ever played with. All are gone, but never forgotten. And when I talk about teammates, I gotta talk about the class of '86. That's my crew. Teammates for life, on and off the court. We continue to share in life's great victories, the tough losses, and an absolutely tremendous amount of nonsense in between. The dealer loves you guys more than you know. I share this honor with my coaches. As a kid, it was Mark Baker, Chuck Schramm, Dan Kornblut, and in high school, it was Jerry Wainwright, who is still a mentor and friend to this day, and Mike Colsey, who was the most demanding and intense coach I ever played for, which is saying a lot because I played for Fran McCaffrey in college. I think I was yelled at every single day in practice in high school, and I probably deserved it. But there's no question that I was a better player because of Mike Colsey. I'm happy to see Coach Jay Gertis is here. He never yelled at me, and he just told me to keep shooting, which was fine. For me, playing basketball at Highland Park became a great classroom for me for life. I learned about handling success and disappointment, about accountability, persistence, commitment, and having to prove myself every day. I also want to mention John Gorleski and John Skornavaco. If it wasn't for John Gorleski, who, as mentioned, was the trainer during my time at Highland Park, I don't think I would be here today. As Adam mentioned, I suffered a horrible injury my junior year. And John and I worked day and night for 2 straight months just to get me back in time for the state playoffs. And Mr. Scorno, who's here, you don't realize how many life lessons you learn on a 7-minute drive to the high school every morning. For Mr. Scorno, thank you for all the rides to the high school. Finally, and most importantly, I share this honor with my on-again, off-again high school girlfriend, who's here, and that's my wife, Jill, who walked these halls with me over 40 years ago. My biggest fan and supporter through all these years. She has been my day one, and is still the one. And the only difference now is that when I go to play basketball, she doesn't say to go beat Deerfield, she just says, just don't get hurt. I want to congratulate the rest of the 2025 Hall of Fame class. Giants in every sense of the word, and my tie to them could not be more Highland Park. The 2011 golf team has girls whose parents have known my family for 40, 50, and Johnny Cedar, 60 years? 60 years. Cathy Nachman, your brother, the legendary Doc Knock. If he were still with us today, he would most certainly call you a superstar. And John, who didn't go to Highland Park, but bleached giant blue more than anyone I know, also has the distinction as the dirtiest pickup player in Highland Park High School. And my dear brother-in-law, Danny B., as you heard from Jordan, arguably the best and toughest quarterback in the last 50 years. Maybe we can finally put to bed the long-time family debate as to who was the best athlete. And sorry to our other brother-in-law, Mike Midas, in this family, country club sports don't count. I mean, come on. So Danny B, we're just gonna call it a draw. This high school has always been a part of me, and I am so honored that I will now always be a part of this high school. Go Giants.
Thank you, Peter. We are on time. I want everyone to know that. So no pressure, Cathy, no pressure. We have one team being inducted today, and no one better to present that team than its head coach, Cathy Nachman.
Thank you very much. Peter, thank you for that shout out. Thank you very much. As freshman athlete at Highland Park High School, I dreamed of the day when female athletes from Highland Park High School would be able to compete for state recognition. It took 4 decades for a girls' sports team to earn a state-level trophy. And I am extremely proud, more proud than you can ever hope to know, that the 2011 girls' golf team accomplished the task of bringing home the first girls' sports state-level trophy to our school. Never dare to dream. My goal was to build a team deep enough to compete at the state level. Hence, the job became to build the pieces bit by bit. In the fall of 2008, 4 golfers, freshmen, came to our program, and I knew right away the dream was alive. These girls were Nicole Fireberg, Jackie Berardi, Jane Cedar, and Michelle Risen. They got it. They actually got what it was like to compete. I knew we were on our way to building something big. In year 2, 2009, Tina Berardi joined the team. It's truly something special when you have players who work on their games and actually spend hours playing the game as they are learning it. In year 3, 2010, 2 more golfers joined the team, Liza Kraft and Gabrielle Levine. What a fantastic gift it was to have 7 girls who were passionate about the game and understood how to be successful. That year we came in second in the CSL, which was comprised of 9 teams, including the formidable New Trier Trevians. No one ever beat New Trier. The team qualified for state and the first Highland Park girls golf team to accomplish this feat. After placing 9th the first day, the girls worked more diligently to end up 7th. Fast forward to fall 2011. We added 1 more key piece to our puzzle, Kelly Ono. Our season began by setting a school record at the Barrington Invitational with a score of 296. 273s and 275s broke the record set the previous season by 22 strokes. In CSL action, for the first time in school history, the Giants defeated New Trier in a close match 162 to 164, with the outcome hinging on the 6th score. Get up, Michelle Risen, 39. Imagine getting a 39 from your 6th score. I had truly figured out we had a deep team. In a CSL action, we were able to play and beat New Trier again. Playing in the pouring rain, the girls won the CSL conference tournament and the CSL Trophy. Regional and sectional championships followed, setting the stage for state. We had a very tough day in the wind on Friday. We were all a bit down, but the girls' resolve and desire allowed them to bounce back strong, leading the team to our third place finish at state. Senior Nicole Fireberg's 76 on Saturday was the 5th lowest score of the day, and Nicole and Kelly Ono ended up 15th in the state. I am so proud of these girls who've now become successful women in their own rights and who continue to shine the light on what is good in athletics and the world at large. Special thanks to Coach Maney. Coach Maney was my rock and my saving grace often, and I thank you for all that you did for our team. And a special thanks for Coach Gonzalez and Coach Bechtel and Athletic Director Bobby Monroe for cheering us on in Decatur and coming down to watching us play. I'd like to ask the 2011 girls golf team members to come on up here. Yeah. We had just a great time. I mean, I did. I don't know about you guys, but I did. And we did something that's never been done before in Highland Park. We won a state trophy as a team. We won state medals as a team. And I would just like to thank all of you for the wonderful things that you gave me in giving back to me. So thank you.
Thank you to the committee, to Paul Harris, to Coach Nachman for this tremendous honor. We are grateful and humbled to be standing here today, and a huge, sincere congratulations to the other inductees.
When thinking about the game of golf, a game typically played by an individual, a game that involves many hours devoted to perfecting a swing, time on the range, putting green, and on and off the course. A game that comes with mental toughness, challenges, and with mental challenges and toughness.
It's rare in high school you find a group of individuals, especially women, who are as dedicated and passionate about a game, but we can also play the game well.
As Coach Nachman said, after making Highland Park School history in 2010 and becoming the first girls golf team to make it down state, place 7th, we knew that 2011 was our year to drive the passion for this game forward.
The determination and dedication to our golf game certainly helped with our 11-1 regular season, placing first in conference, first at regionals, first at sectionals, and third at state. And I know that year everybody in Highland Park High School knew about it, but it was a pretty big deal. And I know not just our coach, but all the other coaches were also very excited and supported us in this. But that passion for the game, not just from us, but from everyone on the team, is what led us to all of these great accomplishments and being here today.
It goes without saying that the driving force behind that passion was Coach Nachman. Thank you for bringing a positive energy to everything we did. You taught us just to keep it light and have a good time. And that's something I still do today whenever I play. Everyone wonders why I'm so light, and it's because of you. And then, you know, every time we're nervous or had a bad round or anything, you were always there to cheer us on. So thank you for simply being our #1 on and off the course, then and now, you know, always texting us on a birthday, attending our weddings. You've just been amazing.
Coach Nachman, thank you for all you did to open the doors for women like us to play sports.
To be standing next to you today is a moment we will never forget, and we are so happy for you. Truly, no one deserves this honor more than you.
And finally, none of us would be standing up here if it weren't for our biggest cheerleaders cheering us on from the sidelines, or more appropriately said, hiding behind trees. So thank you to our parents and siblings for driving us to tournaments, watching hours of both great and not so great golf rounds, for challenging us to be better players, and for your constant words of motivation and encouragement.
Golf is a game that teaches us life lessons. It's a game about integrity, learning to persevere when things aren't going your way, and a game that instills passion. We are grateful to have learned to play and love this game, one that we will have for life. Thank you to everyone, and thank you to the amazing team behind me.
Just a few quick announcements. First, some acknowledgments. A big thank you to Once Upon a Bagel for all the care they put in getting the food ready for today. Ben Fork Bakery, if you didn't get one of the cookies yet from Ben Fork, highly recommend it. And the Highland Park Giants Club, who was here earlier selling merchandise, the support that our booster club gives us to do special things. I can't say enough about how they've helped advance Highland Park athletics. Some of you may be sitting out there wondering, how does somebody get nominated for the Hall of Fame? Like, how did this even happen today? On our website, there's a link to nominate somebody for a Hall of Fame, for the Hall of Fame. A submission needs to come in through the website, supported with lots of documentation. That can be sent to the Athletic Hall of Fame, care of the athletic director here at Highland Park High School. It's really important to provide as much information as possible. That really helps the committee as the committee reviews materials that come in. Nominations for consideration for 25-26 must be submitted between April 15th and September 15th. The committee then meets after September 15th to review all the nominations that have come in. So you can check out the HPHS athletic website for information starting April 15th. In closing, I'd like to read the following passage, which was written by the founding members of this committee. There are times when greatness meets dedication, determination partners with skill, and sheer will breaks barriers and conquers odds. Those moments become fuel for legends. Those moments become our tradition, establish our future goals, and set the bar for future generations. Tonight, we look back at the human ladder of success and thank those upon whose shoulders we proudly stand. They are our legacy. The individuals honored in our Hall of Fame represent the core of our tradition at Highland Park High School. The achievements of these inductees are listed in history books, but tonight, all of you are honored not so much for those statistics, but for the examples you have set, the lives you have changed, and for what you have instilled in others. I hope everybody takes a moment tonight as you travel from the cafeteria to the giant gym to visit the Hall of Fame in the hallway and reflect on the accomplishments of all the deserving individuals. Every plaque that's up there is part of the fabric of this institution. You are our role models, our leaders, the tradition of Highland Park athletics, and with the continuation of the Hall of Fame, it ensures that it will never be forgotten. So a big thank you to all of our inductees and everybody in attendance today. Let's give one more big hand for our inductees. The boys basketball game was scheduled to start at 4:30. It's 4:35 right now. If you did not receive a wristband and you are heading to the game, please make sure you get one, which will mean you do not have to pay admission. You don't have a wristband, you're going to be charged admission when you go. At the conclusion, please 1 second, because we have some key announcements for the Hall of Famers. At the conclusion of the second quarter of the game, right before the Poms and Jammers routine, we're going to ask all the Hall of Famers to come behind the scores table, and we will announce and introduce you to the crowd in the gym. So thank you all again for coming. It's a great night to be a Giant wherever you are.
I'll see you all.